45 years in keeping Louisville weird, Electric Ladyland has been there for all your eccentricities. While they do offer the best smoking supplies out on the market today, there's a whole lot more to check out. From ashtrays and blacklight posters, to records, incense, and burners, and items to stock your metaphysical supply. They're open from 10 to 10, 7 days a week, located at 2325 Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky, and at electricladyland420.com. Roll out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mudhorn for October 2023. Joined as always is Mark Jackson. And this month we're talking about the Ahsoka series. Before we get into it though, I want to remind everyone that we are on Patreon at flamekeeper.vip. You can sign up for different tiers, which come with different perks, $1, $2, or $5. Get some early access, exclusive episodes, pre-sales on merch items like compilation CDs, festival tickets, t-shirts, whatever else we come up with in the meantime. But enough about that. Let's get into the main event here, Ahsoka on Disney Plus. I have to say, I really didn't care about this coming down the pipeline. I didn't watch any trailers. I was kind of a little bit burned, actually. A little bit too much Star Wars going on, so I was like, whatever. And then on a whim, I just watched the first 2 episodes. I was like, maybe I'm not so burnt out on Star Wars after all, because this is exactly what I've been waiting for, especially after I was so disappointed in Andor, with their no lightsabers, hardly any aliens, hardly anything action, period, going on. This was a breath of fresh air, I have to say. So let's get into it. Let's just go episode by episode here and just start with episode 1. What was your
hang on. You already fired shots. You already fired shots on me right now with Andor. I didn't mind the Andor series with no Jedi because, let's face it, there were no Jedi except for Darth at the end of Rogue One. Yes. So, bang, right there. I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way and say, no, I'm disagreeing with you. It was good for what it was, which was basically a 10-episode prison movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've said over and over, like, I like my Star Wars kind of wacky and unrealistic. And they were like trying to ground it, and I was like, why? Because this is Star Wars. It has fucking laser swords, as they say in episode 8 and episode 1. Shit like that, you know. So that's what I like. The crazier the better. Like I said, Boba Fett on a Rancor fighting Cad Bane, sign me up. I'm there. But
yeah, I get all that.
It's just like,
I know, but there was good. I thought there was good action parts in Andor for the amount of action that was in it. I thought it was good, but that's not why we're here.
That's right.
We'll have to reignite the Andor because apparently it's supposed to be coming back for season 2. They haven't said no to it yet.
Well, I do know that I am in the high minority of people who don't like that show. So, I mean, it's like 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 disagree with me totally. So,
really,
I didn't. Yeah, a lot of people don't like it. Yeah.
So, Ahsoka, dude, you said that you weren't excited because I asked you if you'd watched any trailers and you'd said no.
Nope.
And I was like, dude, you've really got to watch it. It's really good. And then, you know, to watch the first 2 episodes when they premiered, what did you think?
Well, man, I'll tell you, like, I didn't even remember it was on until, like, I have a Roku and they have advertisements on the right side of the screen for like news shows and stuff. So it was on there. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this was coming on. And it was like on a Tuesday night instead of the usual Wednesday morning at 3 a.m. I was like, cool, let me check it out.
That was weird. They said it was something to curb spoilers or some shit.
Yes, because what would happen is like you would wake up, like I wake up at like 7 a.m. usually. I get on my phone, check the weather, check messages, lay there and be lazy for a little while before I have to get up. And what would happen is I'll go on like Yahoo or something like that and just like read headlines or something, and there would be a headline and it would be a spoiler for the show. So that's when I just started watching all the Disney stuff at like 3 a.m, except for Andor. I didn't watch any of that. But in early in the morning. But yeah, so Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, I watched them all like 6 a.m. because I didn't want to be spoiled. The first thing I did when I woke up on my phone with headphones on, because I was like, fuck you people. I'm tired of fucking shit being spoiled. Like, why can't you wait like 24 hours where everyone has a chance to watch it, So when they put it on Tuesday nights, I was like, this is actually a much better idea. So since I was available on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time, I was like, cool, I'm gonna watch it. So I watched them it was like 10:30. I was like, let me watch the first one. I'll watch the other one tomorrow. Needless to say, I watched both of them back to back, and I was like, holy shit, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And you watched them before I did. And you'd suggested like you should really watch these. It's like, oh shit, I forgot they were out. And after we got off the recording that night, I watched both of them back to back and was like completely blown the fuck away and was just like, oh god, what did I just watch? And then I had to go watch them again.
Yeah, it's very satisfying as a Star Wars fan to see something like this be this high quality and not so dull or just dragged out. Because I'll be honest, like I know like the gist of Rebels story. I know Vader was in it. I know Darth Maul was in it. I know Obi-Wan was in it. I know, like some of the new characters that were in it, like obviously Ahsoka is a holdover from Clone Wars, stuff like that. But I didn't know like the ins and outs of Rebels. So I watched like a refresher video on YouTube. It was like a 10-minute, hit the beats that I need to know about before watching Ahsoka.
Notes to Rebels.
Yeah. And so yeah, I did that, and I kind of like got the gist down, like who everybody was. Like I didn't know, the Twi'lek was Syndulla, is that her name?
Hera Syndulla.
Yeah. I didn't know like what her deal was. I didn't know like the Ezra Bridger story really that well. I know like Bo-Katan and stuff was in it, and like some Mandalorian stuff. Yes. Obviously it tied in with the Mandalorian show because as we'll talk about when we get into the spoilers, there's some big holdover from the first season, which I thought was pretty cool. Or was it second season? Might be second season. But anyway, yeah, we'll get into it. But so episode 1, like watching the first scene when very reminiscent of episode 1, obviously.
Yeah.
The movie. Episode 1, Ahsoka, the reminiscent of episode 1, the movie.
The 2 Jedi showing up
in a hooded robe, and
to
cool.
discuss terms of something, and it ends up being a prison break.
Yeah, it was like I thought the line was really cool when the guy's like, "You're no Jedi," and then Baylan Skoll, which is like my new favorite like Force user because we don't really know what he is just yet.
Right.
His line was, "You're right about one thing. We're no Jedi." I thought that was the coolest, and I was like, "Fuck yes!" Like, that's fucking awesome, man. Like that was really that made the hair on my arm stand up because it's just like, man, this is like what I dreamed of, like for like these series to be like this good, and like just kind of like an ode to the movies, but it's still its own thing because these are new characters with a master and an apprentice, but the apprentice is a female, and it's a different it's like a different vibe to them and stuff, they're like killing people and don't care, but they're not Sith, it's like, this is fucking cool.
I mean, we don't know if they're Sith or not. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We don't know if they're Sith or not. He just said they're no Jedi. Sure. I mean, there is a such thing as the gray, the gray Jedi and stuff that don't classify themselves as Sith or Jedi. Yeah. And obviously, the red sabers, but that's the thing. I think Ahsoka is more of a gray Jedi than anything, she does fight for the greater good, but the greater good for everybody.
Well, also don't forget, Balin Skull's lightsaber is orange.
Yeah, so it's not really red, but yeah, so it's really interesting, and like he just looks like a badass. But the only problem I have with it, is I kind of mentioned this to some friends a while back, and I think I did to you as well, that with every new series, it almost kind of feels like whenever they introduce Jedi in new series, it kind of makes me feel like they really have cheapened Order 66.
Well, there could be a backstory to it because obviously, well, we'll just talk about it when we get there. Let's just stick with episode 1, 2, 3, and 4 right now.
Right.
But yeah, we'll have some general thoughts like after it concludes, because some of these might be answered for you, also.
Right.
But yeah, so like episode 1 was really awesome, and I just went ahead and just hit play next episode without any regard for what time it was, because it was like 50 minutes. It was almost an hour. It was pretty long. So yeah, I went into episode 2, and well, the first thing about episode 1 is there was one gripe I had that didn't really fit. It was when she was like leaving the city on the speeder bike, and it was just like this music just does not fucking work in this universe. Like I don't know what it was, but it was just like it was very weird to me. Like
okay, I will go ahead and ruin that for you because you watched the Cliff's Notes Rebels. That's actually a reference to Rebels too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because the first time you meet Sabine, she's like that in Rebels also.
Oh, okay.
She's got that thing going on where she's like and all over the fucking place. So it's because it was written and directed by Dave Filoni, who also was the one who did Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much a direct nod to that.
Okay, well that makes a little more sense then. Still doesn't really sound right to me, but I know this is a direct Rebel sequel, so
it is.
I gotta keep that.
And actually, me watching Rebels now for the first time, it is definitely a deal. It is definitely a sequel, and I absolutely, from what I got to watch in the complete Ahsoka series to the continuation from Rebels, it is so satisfying to be able to watch both of them in one sitting.
Right.
Yeah.
Gives you a little more context because you don't forget stuff. It's all fresh.
Oh, yeah. That's just like, just, I don't know. It's all interesting stuff that you find out that, like, Anakin's really a pussy.
Yes, well, we all know that because his name was Annie. That was his nickname. It's like, dude.
Yeah, but no, like, because, like...
So let's get into some of the minor characters here that some reprised the roles and some didn't. So the Clancy Brown senator character was obviously a holdover from Rebels.
Yes,
played by the same guy, Clancy Brown, Kurgan and Highlander.
Yes, Kurgan and Highlander. He is also Baron Hadley in the Shawshank Redemption. He is the prison guard that got caught murdering the people and all of that. And then there's Mr. Krabs.
Does he play Mr. Krabs?
He is the voice of Mr. Krabs.
I didn't know that. He was also in one of my favorite games a few years ago called Detroit Become Human, which was a pretty awesome game on PlayStation 4 if you're into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed his career. Yeah. Every time I see him in something, I'm like, hey, that's Clancy Brown. Hell yeah.
I honestly didn't know he was good. Mr. Krabs. That's fascinating, actually.
Oh, yeah. Now in everything you'll ever see him in, you'll hear him being as the Kurgan. Oh, SpongeBob. But yeah, he is Ryder Azadi as he was in the Rebels series. I believe Ryder was in 10 or so episodes of Rebels.
Right.
Which is really cool because I immediately knew his voice when I heard it in the show. And in Rebels. And it's like, wow, that sounds like Clancy Brown. And then I watched the episode with Ahsoka, and then he's on the fucking the platform introducing Sabine, and fucking I was like, I wonder if they're the same person, and they weren't. So
Nice.
that was a cool little nod. Obviously, Harrison Dula, which is portrayed by Obi-Wan's wife, which is what is her name? Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yep.
Which she plays the Twi'lek captain of the Ghost. Now I believe General Zendula.
Yes, it is.
As opposed to Captain Zendula as she was in Rebels. Which is interesting to me too. Like, where was she in the whole time of episodes 4, 5, and 6?
Right.
I guess I'll know when I finish Rebels where she's been, as opposed to 5 years after.
Let's see, who else was there. Did the same girl who plays Sabine Wren play her in the show?
No, I do.
So I do know that she's the one that stole the Darth
voice
Maul and gave it to Bo-Katan. That was in the recap video.
No, she did not. She did not.
Okay.
Now, I don't know. Did Dave Filoni reprise his role as Chopper?
Yes, he did.
Chopper,
Chopper's the only droid that actually owns stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other funny thing about Chopper too is on the Rebel series, I think all the way up until the very last episode, Chopper is credited as himself.
Right.
In like CP1 or whatever he is, Chopper, or CHP, or C1HP or whatever. But there is one really, really cool droid in that series though too that is awesome. But obviously, you know, so her name is Shin Hati, which is Ivana Sanko, the Balin's apprentice.
Yeah, she's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, she looks like holy shit, dude. Like,
she got some wild ass eyes though, man. Like, she's just like really big and like just kind of disturbed looking, which I think it makes her a really cool villain.
You know, she's Ukrainian, but the cool thing about it is she totally she totally looks like she could be like a Skarsgård.
Right.
You know, like Bill or Bill's sister or something, because they have that similar Eastern European look, and like they're fucking like, she just has like this real stark, like, can really portray an evil character really well, just like Ray Stevenson I think can too.
Yeah.
And you know, rest in peace also.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, you know, like what their plan was with the character before he died.
Right.
I don't know if they're gonna recast him or not.
Well, this is supposed to be just a limited series though.
Yeah, but like I've said before in other conversations, like nobody really knows what that term means because they always make another season, and then it goes from limited series to 2 seasons. You know,
right?
Like I said, limited series to me is like you have 8 episodes and you're done with the 8 episodes. There's no more.
Well, that's what the thing happened with Obi-Wan, is he wanted it to be what it was 6 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all he wanted.
Yeah, but they keep talking about more, but I don't think it did good enough to have another one. But you know, looking back, I would probably put the Obi-Wan series kind of low on the Star Wars quality bar. I mean, it had some cool stuff, but the story was I
think that it's okay.
So it's okay.
Okay, so at the end of the first episode, Sabine picks up the lightsaber, and she has the map, because obviously she's the only person who knows in the galaxy how to unlock it. And Ahsoka shows up. Obviously they got the map from one of the Megan Elsbeth, the Night Sister,
Right.
which the Night Sisters come into play more in the Rebel series about who they were. They were the Witches of Dathomir, who is what Darth Maul's race believed in.
Yeah. Also, a big part in the Jedi Fallen Order video game too. So
very much.
Yeah, the Night Sisters
also,
and the Inquisitors were both in there. So
yes, definitely. And what I really think is interesting too is like with the tie-in here is where with the Witches of Dathomir is where the Darksaber was originally kept in Rebels.
Right.
Which is how Sabine, tying into the whole Mandalorian aspect of everything.
Right.
Yeah, so which is really cool that it was basically her, Sabine, who found it and was supposed to be the fucking leader of Mandalore at that point. So she was a little bit too immature then, and I think she still is now.
Yes, I agree. So getting to the end of this episode, after we've been introduced to pretty much all the major players.
Well, but there is one thing that we didn't do first. We did. I do want to mention the holocron of Ezra.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool because seeing Ezra in a human form, even on a holocron, it's just like seeing Princess Leia on the screen for the very first time in the holocron form.
Right.
It had the same feel to me where it was just like, hey, Sabine, I know, blah, blah, and it's just like a live action one of that one in Rebels, and it's just like, holy shit, it's really him, and it gives you that kind of like a whimsical feeling. It's like seeing him in the theater for the first time. You get like this fucking like this magical feeling, I guess.
Right.
When you see like Luke run onto the screen for the first time in a theater.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I totally get that. And I do want to make mention of Hu Yang, the droid, which is David Tennant.
Yeah.
Which he was a Jedi droid who like analyzed lightsabers and helped the younglings make their first lightsabers and shit.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's a really cool thing that, Ahsoka's running around with this fucking, who's somebody who has denounced the Force and being a Jedi, is running around with this fucking Jedi temple droid.
Sure. Yeah.
Who is constantly giving her shit about doing the right thing as a Jedi.
Yeah, the droids in this are really cool. Like I said, Chopper and him are like really cool, like droids that are like different than
oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, and that's what I'm going to tell you now about the Rebels aspect. And I hate to keep bringing up Rebels to you, but you find out what a prick Chopper is in Rebels, and it doesn't disappoint.
Right. Like I said, the only droid with actual like property, which was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, it's a pretty cool aspect. All right, so before we move on to episode 2 of Ahsoka, let's talk about the one thing that me and you were both like, what the fuck? And that is being stabbed with a lightsaber and surviving when Qui-Gon.
When you've seen so many Jedi die from it.
Yeah.
Is it because that she knew, she being Sabine, is it because she knew that she could live through it? And so many Jedi are that arrogant that they could think that they could never be killed, so they just lose their life force.
Well,
like Padme decided to lose her life force.
Oh, from
there was no medical explanation for her dying. She just gave up.
Yeah.
So like Qui-Gon fucking was mortally wounded in the same place Sabine Wren was, but he dies and she doesn't.
Yeah. Well, that's a gripe. But I guess no major organs were hit, and maybe Qui-Gon suffered a major. I don't know, but
maybe he severed Qui-Gon's back.
It could have been. I think Darth Maul's lightsaber was a lot bigger too, bigger round in diameter than
size doesn't matter.
Well, maybe it does lightsabers. I don't know, or maybe it's because it was red. It was more lethal. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely a bitch. The other bitch I had was the thing about the droid going into the room and smashing all of the shit up.
Yeah.
And then just like getting wounded in the leg. But like Sabine. Okay, so here's my little bit of a gripe between the continuity of Rebels to this.
Yeah.
In Rebels, that tower looks way fucking tall.
Right.
Like 100 feet up in the air tall. And on this, it looks like it's like 2 stories up.
Yeah.
Like that any training Jedi should be able to make that jump.
Sure.
You know, whether, or I don't know, whatever happened to her fucking jetpack, because she's a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
You know, whatever happened to her fucking jetpack, so she didn't fucking fly down there. She waited for the fucking elevator. What?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And the fucking the chick waited on her at the bottom of the elevator, didn't leave. So it's like, what the fuck? That's the bitch that I had, is like, you wouldn't try to escape with the map. You're going to wait on this person with a lightsaber to show up to fight you.
Yeah.
You're just not, your ship is 20 yards away. You parked right there.
Well, you know, everyone's got their thing. You know, before we do go on to episode 2, though, we didn't even talk about Ahsoka at all in this episode.
Yeah, I know.
So
because
that's kind of weird, but
it's really Ahsoka's story at this point.
Well, the part when she fights the droids, like the assassin droids, I think that's what really set me, got me hooked, is because I was like, oh, these droids are pretty fucking badass too. But I will have to say though, man, like, I don't know if it's like Rosario Dawson's like movements or something, but like her fighting style in this just doesn't really make me believe
different.
that it's very, I don't know, it's very overhand for some reason. Like
I agree, but I think that's kind of Ahsoka though, and I think she has always been seeing her in, from the limited things I've seen her in Clone Wars, because I really didn't like that animation, but from the limited things that from the stuff that I've seen her in Rebels, and now this, I get, and Mandalorian, where, you know, she takes Morgan Elsbeth prisoner.
Yeah.
And then to this, it is kind of like an overhanded style.
Mm-hmm.
Very weird that she fights that way, considering Anakin never fought that way.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
maybe
a little off about it to me.
Maybe, and this gets into like Jedi philosophy stuff, which is a weird thing to read about, but it's out there. For the people who actually claim Jedi is their religion on their taxes and that shit, or their census and shit, that maybe she viewed his overconfidence for her fighting into an over, like a, you know, like a, that's her way of showing it.
Right.
Her adaptation of his overconfidence being, so in a weird way, he did influence her.
Mm-hmm.
Just she's more careful about it and more pronounced.
Right. Could be.
And he's just hack and slash to a degree.
Right. All right.
I mean, literally, Anakin's just hack and slash.
Yes. He always comes up a little bit short, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's the only person shorter than the Ugnaughts, I think.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to episode 2 now. We find Sabine Wren and everybody in the hospital waiting for her to wake up. And then it just kind of
sterile looking.
A very sterile looking hospital.
Yeah, it looks very much, the look of it reminded me very much of Cloud City in episode 5, when Leia's standing at the window when Chewbacca comes in.
Right.
That's what it reminded me of. It was just like real sleek looking.
Sure.
I liked it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. What did you think about this episode? Because it's kind of like 1 and 2 are almost like the first episode anyway.
Well, to this one, I was just like, I hated the thing, honestly, of you got to stay here, you need rest. But again, after watching Rebels, they did that in that too. So it's like, it's not far-fetched to believe that that they would have done that. It was a thing. So I do like how it was after the fact. I learned from watching Rebels after this series, then I learned so much more about that series.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
I really need to watch it. One of these nights I'm gonna start, but
one of these nights.
Yeah, one of them. So this episode was, I like this episode a lot though, because it actually got into remnants of the Empire was still around and functioning, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and the little sleazeball dude from House, what's his name? Peter Jacobson. Yeah, the guy who was at the Imperial shipyard.
Yeah. Yeah, like you just knew something was going on because they were like, what you need that like transport jumper for or whatever it was, and they're like, oh, that thing, and it's like you have the guys like kind of looking at each other every time like something was said, and they're like for the Empire, and they got obviously fucking chopped down pretty quick because
yeah, right.
Yeah, so I know we skipped over a lot because really this was like the main parts of the show was the hospital, and then the she went to the Sabine's apartment or house, whatever it was, and found the one waiting for her there.
And the other droid.
Yeah, I got the information she needed about that. And then took it to Hera, and then they found out that the Empire was still kind of
okay, so let me explain something with this and why. Okay, like it's almost a little bit of an unbelievable deal. Like, I hate that suspension of disbelief shit that like seems like an unreal thing. Like the deal with Sabine connecting to the droid's mind core,
right,
to find out what was going on. It doesn't really give you any good explanation on why or how she can do that.
Yeah,
she just does it. But in the Rebel series, you do find out, of course, where her technicality comes from,
right?
Which is cool. So again, it's like another facet to the believability of the episode, I think, into the Star Wars universe, because sometimes the writing does get a little bit convoluted, I think. But I guess you got to see that it's a bigger picture of this is just another chapter in this universe.
Yeah.
Of stuff that is happening that people are like coming out with new series all over the timeline.
Right.
But yeah, and then Chopper, finding the tracking device and all that stuff to find out where the system was that they needed to go to.
Yeah, and also this episode we find out that Syndulla has a biological kid that's not Twi'lek, so that was interesting too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah.
And then obviously the fight at the end with the Inquisitor that we don't know anything about.
Yes,
was cool too.
Which is interesting because spoiler alert, which we're already into the spoilers, right?
Yeah, if you're still watching at this point and haven't watched it, it's your fault.
Yeah, for sure. So when she takes out the fucking the Inquisitor style character, which I don't think it's an Inquisitor, because when she struck it down and the fucking smoke went out of it. Or wait a minute, that's in the next episode, isn't it?
It's actually in 4, so we're actually at 2 episodes ahead.
Oh shit!
Yeah. So we'll just skip that. We'll just go right to 3 when they're in the ship. So this is probably my least favorite of that first half, at least, because
the Time to Fly episode.
Yeah, because honestly, there's
shit, we didn't even fucking mention this.
What?
How could we have not mentioned this? It had a scroll.
Oh yeah, getting back to the beginning, yeah.
Fuck. That was such a good part, and we never mentioned it.
Well, let's just reverse back real quick. Yeah, there's a actual scroll. It's different, but it's a scroll nonetheless. And that's
it goes up like this.
I think it made me feel like, oh, this is real Star Wars again. Because to be honest with you, I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't put a scroll in the beginning of Rogue One or Solo or The Mandalorian. Like they could have had a scroll and they just left it at that first episode or any of the series. Like I don't know why it's that big a deal. That can only be in episodes 1 through 9. You know.
Well, I kind of like that it's special to those.
Yeah, you know,
I do.
If it's a cohesive
especially
story,
the way Rogue One starts. I love the way Rogue One starts. It's like because it's the first Star Wars movie after the original trilogies.
Yeah,
you know, and it just goes and just jumps into the fucking scene, right. And it's like a scare, and it's like holy shit, and it's like you don't expect it, and I do like that.
Well, like I said, I just don't understand why you can't have a first episode of all the series, but
I do like that this one did have a scroll, but I do that it was a different one because honestly, it reminded me of a time like playing like the old NES games where the scroll in those didn't go up the screen, it went like this.
Right.
So or like in Predator, it did the same thing. It was like you know, like the story at the beginning of the Predator NES game was like that. So that's why I dug it. It was like a nostalgia thing for me. But anyways, yeah, back to you know, episode 3 here, Time to Fly. Again, written by Dave Filoni. I think they're all written by Filoni.
They are.
The whole entire series.
Yeah.
And he's only directing 2 episodes.
1 and 5.
Yes, which obviously 5 was debuted in the theater and all that. Yeah. So,
this was my least favorite of the first half, like I said, because I had a fear that it was going back to episode 8 bullshit. But I will say that when she stepped out of the ship to fight the ship with a lightsaber, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me with this shit. Don't even fucking do this Leia bullshit where she's just like floating around and disabling fucking shit TIE fighters and stuff like that or whatever they were. But the fact that she had the same equipment on as they did in Empire when they were landing on the in the space worm.
Yes.
So that made me feel a little bit better. At least like it wasn't like so fucking dumb like episode 8 was with Leia floating around out there.
You a question?
Yeah.
Do you like that scene in Empire?
It's fine what it is. I mean, it was just like a thing like to show like how small the people are in space when you can land on something and it's actually a creature. It was just to show scale of how big space is, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a giant space dick coming out to bite the ship. I mean,
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Like I said, if it was never made, I don't think anybody would miss it, but it's there. Right. So yeah. But yeah.
I do like the thing where fucking Han shoots it and it's like and then they're like, that's no cave.
Yeah. But yeah,
they always play that in the trailer.
This one was my least favorite of the first half for sure. I mean the space stuff with the space battles are always cool and stuff, but I don't know. It was like all space battle and just like dogfight, you know.
Dude, so like okay, like for me, what I think is absolutely amazing is like I'm like a giddy fucking child at this point because I am so invested in the entire series of Star Wars, not necessarily as a whole of like, you know, like the Rian Johnson shit can go fuck itself, obviously. I mean,
yes, it can. Can't say it enough.
I mean, honestly, I think if Disney could get away with renaming those episodes, they probably should.
Yeah.
You know, let's have Disney go through and Lucasfilm them and give us the special editions Force Awakens where it's you know, where it's the new Jedi Order Force Awakens or some shit. You know, change the name and give us a real episode 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
But I guess what I mean by that is like I was probably 13 when I read the 7, 8, and 9 trilogy by Timothy Zahn.
Mm-hmm.
The Empire, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command.
Right.
And they were just like page fucking turners, you know, hearing about Pelion and Thrawn and, you know, reading about them and Mercure and the shit with Mara Jade and all of that, you know, that we never got to see, that we all wanted to see. And now the fact that Rebels has come out and now Ahsoka, the direct sequel to, along with The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, those stories as well, have been, you know, all a tie-in to what is happening with the Thrawn stuff. And it's really cool that they went back and did what they did in Rebels, because when there's still some bit of canon to the legend, I guess.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because, you know, Thrawn was lost in space when they found him in Heir to the Empire, 5 years after Return of the Jedi, which is when this same time period is. They just didn't say how far lost in space he was.
Right.
Not across to another galaxy.
Yeah,
which is what they wrote in from Rebels.
I never really understood why they just didn't like have Timothy Zahn write these fucking movies, you know.
Well, honestly, it's because, I mean,
they could have just been simplified for general audience, but he still could have done. He still could have like a condensed version of all that stuff and made sense. Because, you know, Luke was in that stuff and everybody was in that stuff. You know, it was like really intense. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah, but it wasn't the fact that, you know, it wasn't Luke 30 years from episode 4. It was Luke 5 years after the Empire.
Yeah, I get that too. But I mean, like, still, people have like, they
which is back to where we fight about the AI thing.
Yeah, they make time jumps work. Some, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's another gripe for another day. But
yeah, for sure. So part 4, you know. So anyways, no, like what I'm saying. Sorry, before we get to part 4, because that's pretty much going to be the culmination of, you know, the shift. I think, you know, and so when they show the super fucking like hyperdrive deal, and then they show the fucking the star map where it actually connects to where it needs to be, and the fucking Purgles blew my fucking mind. Okay, so the Purgles are fucking awesome. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The space whales.
Yeah.
Who have fucking hyperdrive.
Yeah, they were in Mandalorian also.
Yes. And like they're fucking insane, man. Like they're so fucking cool. And like to see them converge on that fucking planet, to see the fucking like the big star map, and just like I love the futuristic aspect of the way the droids look with like the steampunk shit in Elsbeth's fucking new super hyperdrive ship.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's pretty cool looking. It kind of looks like honestly, it kind of looks like the gates of fucking Asgard and fucking Thor.
Right.
When they come into Asgard on the Rainbow Bridge.
Yeah.
And it's got all the fucking spinning gears and shit. That's what it reminds me of, and the droids in her ship. It's really interesting because I think it lends to like, it's almost it's almost, and spoiler alert to you, and I'm gonna say it because you haven't went and watched it yet, so fuck you. Maybe by the time this airs, you'll have watched it.
Perhaps.
So fuck you. It's almost the same exact story, but from the villain's perspective. Well, no, it is from the villain's perspective because that's what the fucking movie's about. As Dial of Destiny.
Oh yeah, it should be on pretty soon. I think it's just now available to like buy on digital. So
yeah, but no, that's what I'm saying. Is like that. This whole first part of like with the fucking like the thing, it's totally a fucking Indiana Jones story.
Right.
I mean, if you seriously break it down and look at the writing, if they're taking an artifact to get to a place to find a friend that they've lost, that's been taken captor, and if they fucking find that friend, it's gonna unleash the heir to the fucking empire, the fucking ultimate badass. It's like it's Indiana Jones in Star Wars, which is great because I think they both recycle characters from time to time.
Sure.
But yeah, so the duel, and oh my god, the fucking duel with Sabine, I think, was fucked up in its own right. And then fucking like the duel with fucking
the duel with the Inquisitor was cool too. That's what you were talking about earlier.
Now we can talk about the Inquisitor duel.
Yeah.
Where the smoke comes out of him.
Right.
Or the smoke comes out of it.
Yeah.
Which is completely a tag back to the Night Sisters.
Right.
Magic, which is totally fucking badass because it's like a possession.
Yeah.
And it's really fucking cool because it really blows away like Balin's skull. When she creates the fucking when he asks her how she's going to do what she does, and I think that's at the end of episode 3, and when he asks her if it's the Force, and she's like it's like a different kind or whatever, and fucking like, and then seeing it in action in the duel in that scene is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I thought this episode was actually really good. I mean, watching maybe like when I do the rewatch of the series, just like back to back, and when you have all the episodes like
in context
available to watch
in
order as fast as I want, episode 3 would probably be better because it is a setup to this episode for sure.
Oh yeah,
because a lot of time setup episodes are boring until the whole thing is available to watch, and then it's like, okay, maybe that episode wasn't so bad because it was actually doing this. So yeah, episode 3 is upon watching the first time was boring because there's nothing following it. But now that the follow-ups here and they're on the planet still in the trees, like when they find the ship and the droid actually fights the other droids, that was really cool, And then obviously when they run to go find Balin's skull and they run into the Inquisitor and Shin Hati. Is that her name, Shin Hati? Hattie?
Yeah, that's it.
When they find them and have their own individual fights, and then it culminates into the
reminiscent of the Force Awakens in a way.
Yeah.
In the snow and shit from like with John Boyega and then Daisy Ridley and Kylo Ren, which I've always liked lightsaber battles in the snow. I really thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, let's not forget that Kylo Ren might be the worst Force user ever because he couldn't even beat Finn. But that's another topic. Yeah, so
that's another story for another day.
Exactly. Yeah.
So anyway, back to Ahsoka.
Yeah, getting back to the last battle.
The fucked up thing is like fucking Ahsoka goes over the edge, and like I'm devastated. Like, oh fuck, dude. Right. And obviously, god damn it, I hate to do this, but you watch the fucking cliff notes, so fuck you. If you've seen Rebels, you've seen this before.
Yeah.
You've seen her lose like this before.
Yeah.
Lose like this before. And then fucking she ends up fucking Sabine takes the fucking map and is gonna blast it, but is like, succumbs to the fucking the hype. because she ultimately, I think she's in love with Edra.
Yeah, she is.
And, and whether or not they've said that or state that or anything, I think that's really what it is. And like fucking, and ultimately because he is a lovable character, I will say that. He's a kid. He's
Right.
a lovable kid character that now, would be, and you meet him when he's 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he has, he grows up around everybody.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I loved about Rebels is they actually age progressed him well.
Yeah. Well, don't forget he's also in they also show him in the last season of Mandalorian too. But the latest one.
Do they?
Yep. Yeah, it's during one of the escape. It's like a flashback scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it actually has his origins in there too. Like I said, the way this show ties into Mandalorian is pretty cool too. Like you can pick up a lot from just the Mandalorian stuff that they kind of cross over.
Well, see, now I have to go back and watch that scene because I had to go back and watch the Zeb Aurelios scene too.
Right.
In Mandalorian because before watching Rebels, you assume that it's just like Rogue One, everybody dies.
Yeah.
Because they're not in later episodes. Well, they're not. They're just in another battle.
Right.
That's what I think that Rebels set up extremely well. Even where you had people like Fulcrum and Leia and and Bail Organa all make cameo appearances and stuff like that. But you also had it made you believe more that it was not really more of an organized thing as it was splinter packs of people rebelling in their own systems.
Sure.
Which is what Rebels is, and which is what obviously Episode 4 is. That Luke and Han and Obi-Wan just so happened to fall into Leia's pack of people.
Right. Well, also there's a really big giveaway that's pretty obvious when
when you find out that
always a Rebel. It's like, oh yeah, well, in case you didn't know this was a Rebel series, there you go.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Dude, I like how these ships like really fucking flew back when they launched the hyperdrive.
Space hyperdrive.
I thought that was really fucking cool, man.
Dude, I will tell you now, I completely lost my shit when fucking Elsbeth fucking sit there and said, never mind them, continue with what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it fucking flew through them.
Yep.
And obviously, dude, I'm like blown the fuck away.
Yeah.
At this point. Like, this is like fucking like, yeah, Hayden Christensen is Anakin. But he looked fucked up. Like, yeah. No, let's not even address the music yet.
No. I mean, you can, because we're not. The next episode we'll just get into more. But yeah, it was very notes of Vader. Like, it's like
no, that's what I'm saying. Let's not even address the music yet because of the sounds. But like, I was gonna say, just by the way he looked when he goes, "Hey, I didn't imagine to see you here so soon."
Snips, yeah,
like. But then but his face, he looked fucked up. Like, he didn't. I know it was supposed to be the age of like Hayden Christensen because he physically looks older. I get that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think it's right. That's what it felt like. It felt like it didn't seem right, because he just looked weird.
Well, I was wondering, like, after I watched it, I was like, I wonder what that was. Like, did Ahsoka die as a Force ghost, or is like, what is this? Like, she fell into?
That is the world between worlds.
Okay.
Is what that's called. And the world between worlds is like, it is that. It's like purgatory. And the mythos of the world between worlds based off of Rebels, because that's where it was originally seen.
Yeah.
Is anybody who is there at the same time as you can talk with.
Oh, gotcha.
So at that point, he was there with her.
Yeah.
So, he's just wandering around because he's dead.
Right.
So, but he's crossing into that plane of existence, which ultimately is what they thought happened to Ezra and Thrawn.
Mm-hmm.
Was that they went to the world between worlds, and that's where they had to go to retrieve them. That's what the original idea was, anyways.
Right.
But, as we can see now.
Well, should we get into episode 5 now?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into episode 5. So, as we're fucking sitting here coming back to Ahsoka now, Jason, you ransacked me at the end of the fucking conversation we were going to have because I was asking, like, fuck, am I wearing the same shirt as what I wore the last time?
Yes.
And you told me, it ain't going to fucking matter. And I immediately had the fucking joke pop into my head, and then you tarot card read me, and I was just like, fuck, I had the wind taken out of me. So what it fucking was Harrison Ford turning to Mark Hamill going, hey, kid, it ain't that kind of movie. If they're worried about your hair, we've got other problems. The fucking continuity of fucking wearing the same clothes.
Right. I mean, I'm also wearing my Night Demon shirt. And in case people are wondering what the hell he's talking about with tarot cards, let's just jump franchises real quick. I'm
no,
Star Trek.
You can't show that Wars. Here.
I am.
This,
I did it.
I'm putting my
fortune says, fucking bring it. You bring your lightsaber, I'll bring my fucking phaser to fucking kill.
Set your weapons to thunder. All right, so now we're doing the second half of fucking Ahsoka this time.
Yes, episodes 5 through 8.
Yes, episodes 5 through 8. If you saw a minute ago before the break, you had episodes 1 through 4, and we don't like to break shit up here and do episodes 4, 5, and 6, and then 1, 2, and 3, and then
we don't make you wait. We don't make you wait decades between episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We get with.
I mean, we can if we'd like to, but
if we're around that long, we should do that.
Hey kid, I ain't got that kind of time.
That's all right.
Jason senses that Ahsoka's somewhere, that she's not there.
Right.
And yeah.
Also, this was the one
where she is mostly in the water the whole time and goes to the world between worlds.
This is the one they put in theaters where everyone thought, including myself, that Thrawn was going to show up. Because why would you put an episode in theaters if Thrawn wasn't going to show up? But he fucking did it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? So yeah, there was that.
Yeah, and it was the whole thing of to me, it was like a real fucking petered out thing. They put it in theaters because of Anakin, not because of Thrawn. And fuck that. And it makes me wonder. It seriously makes me wonder if that was a thing with Hayden Christensen saying, well, I'll do it, but I want it in the theater because it was still free, but it was like a mid-series fan event is what they called it. It's almost like fucking, I don't know. You ever seen the thing with George Carlin about language, about how we change language and shit? Mid-series fan event.
Yeah, I know.
It's almost like going to a health maintenance organization.
Well, dude, you know what started that, naming shit like that, is Walking Dead. They're the first one to do the annoying mid-season finale. I'm like, oh my god, this is so fucking dumb.
How can you have a mid-season finale?
Exactly. They made it, and they would hype it up as this is the last one for 6 weeks or whatever it was off for when I was watching it. It was so fucking annoying. And then they started doing it with all their shows, and then all the shows started doing that shit.
Right. Yeah. When they take a break between fucking the last week or 2 weeks before Christmas, and then they come back at fucking February.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Walking Dead. Not only did you turn to a piece of shit show, you started piece of shit trends that are still going to this day.
The idea, I think it was a throwaway episode. I think episode 5 was a throwaway episode. And I think it was just for Dave Filoni to write more about the world between worlds, because it had so many questions about it based off of the experience in Clone Wars and Rebels.
Right.
But it almost, to me, kind of cheapens it in a way, too, because now you've seen it at least 3 times. You know what I'm saying? And are you going to see it again? And that's the other thing. To me, it's like, man, you're bringing into this stuff that really leaves open some plot holes.
Yeah.
That's the thing with that.
Right.
And Jason's little minuscule second episode cameo saying, "She's here, Mom. I can feel her."
Well, he obviously.
I know he's force sensitive. Yeah, I know he's force sensitive. His dad's Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah, I'll disagree with you a little bit on the throwaway episode. I don't think it was a throwaway episode. I think it was the wrong episode to put in theaters. I think they should have.
I do think that. Yeah,
I think they should have put 6, 7, and 8 as a fucking movie in theaters. To be honest with you, they should have just.
I agree with that.
They should have just showed 6, 7, and then when you went to go see 8, you had to watch 6 and 7 because it would be like the first Thrawn trilogy. And as far as like film goes,
absolutely.
So yeah, I didn't hate 5. Like actually, in the whole scheme of the series, which I think the next time we see anything, Ahsoka will be the Heir of the Empire movie they obviously built up to. In the scheme of the series, I thought it was okay, but like as a standalone episode, yeah, I kind of agree with you. Like it was the wrong one to put in theaters, but no, I don't think. I don't think Hayden Christensen has that kind of pull to like I'm only showing up if you put this episode in theaters. Like he's probably just happy to be working, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, yeah, but maybe that was in his contract, who knows? I mean, they promise weird shit sometimes. Okay, so I mean, then Ahsoka knows how to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess that's how Ezra found out how to get there too, is he had went through the world between worlds, and then it's just like I guess he had this awakening.
Right. We should preface real quick. There's going to be Rebel spoilers in this conversation. So. Anyway.
Oh yeah. Continue. I mean, you know what? If you haven't watched Rebels at this point, I mean,
easy. I haven't, but I'll take I will take anything you have to say because I know what I'm getting into. But also,
there's this one time where fucking Palpatine resurrects fucking Padme's corpse.
Yeah.
And no.
I have started watching it actually.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. I made it through episode 1. I haven't been back yet because I've been busy.
Episode 1's a start.
Yes, it is. Everything starts with 1, like James Hetfield once said.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
so far, far away. Yes. The Eye of Sion arrives on Peridia.
Right.
Which Peridia, dude, the first time we're seeing another galaxy another planet outside of the Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah.
First time ever.
Yep.
Like, holy shit, this is something that we've never seen on screen. We've always got to read about it in legends.
Yeah, it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, 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 farther away.
I don't know. Maybe this one's even closer.
It could be. I mean, who really knows? Like, I don't know. The space whales were like, traveling a pretty good distance. So,
yeah, which they basically said that the whales went there to die.
Right.
So, but Morgan Elsbeth also says in this episode that the way that the witches of Dathomir first used the whales to travel across the stars.
Mm-hmm.
So if the whales go there to die, how are they reanimating them?
Possibly.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
So, of course, one of the things we didn't fucking talk about, we did talk about it in episode 4, was Sabine going with Baylan Skoll and them and being held captive, right?
Right.
So at this rate, she's on the fucking ship with them.
Yes.
And is talking shit about, she's basically listening while Baylan and Morgan Elsbeth are there talking about everything. And what did you think about this episode?
Well, like I said, it was the first time we saw Thrawn in live action, so that was awesome. his Star Destroyer was called the Chimera, which was cool too. It had like the cool like tribal tattoo style bottom to it, which you know, I never really seen a decorated Star Destroyer before, which I thought was cool.
Well, not only that, but it's decorated like the Night Sisters or the Mother's face paint, if you notice.
I didn't really pay attention to that. No.
Yeah, it's all red and stuff like the way their faces look.
Okay.
Which is it, because if you notice later on when we talk about it, when they shift Morgan to a Night Sister, her face does the same thing.
Right.
So the interesting thing to me about it is like when you first come up into the planet and you see this, and then when they take the ship down, this gold looking like almost like the Talon fighter from fucking Masters of the Universe, you know, the Point Dread and Talon fighter ship.
Yeah.
It looked.
Second one will be good too.
So here we go. The fucking ship comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! The gold on the ship, on the top panels, and then painted underneath. Yeah. And then as it docks, you see all of the Death Troopers. There is what they're called.
Yeah,
they're called Death Troopers. I don't know why, but I don't know. To me, they just still look like stormtroopers held together with tape. But they look badass.
Yeah, they
look badass because all of the cracks and shit in the helmets were all seamed together with gold. It kind of reminded me of, if you remember in episode 9, after Kylo Ren smashes his fucking helmet in the previous episode, he kind of welds it back together, and it's got red lines and shit all through the cracks, and these all have gold in them.
Right.
As well as many of the panels were remade from gold, but apparently there was Star Wars Wiki talks about Peridia having a high gold content or some shit.
Right.
But that's, nerdism stuff. And then the troopers, he comes in, man, like Thrawn comes in, and I'm like on the edge of my seat, literally being like, oh my God, it's him. I'm like nerding the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because I love that trilogy so fucking much, of the original Thrawn books from Timothy Zahn, that like to see him. And I absolutely hate the fucking Star Wars purists out there. I mean, Star Wars fans are the worst fucking fans sometimes, because they will shit on everything.
Right.
And still watch it.
Yeah.
Just a bitch.
Yes, I know. I'm well aware.
Yeah, because like, oh yeah, well, it's not really Thrawn. He's watered down too much. Motherfucker, can't you just be happy he's here? And dude, I liked it. And then he gives Sabine the one thing that he says is like, when they're like, oh, the prisoner is Sabine Wren, he goes, well, there's a familiar name. Just so nonchalant, like, fuck this. But no, just the idea of like the thing of like what everybody's talking about between fucking like, what was the agreement made between Thrawn and Ezra? Because they had to reach an agreement for them to, to not kill each other there.
Right.
And apparently you would think Thrawn was out searching the fucking galaxy, because he fucking he got there pretty quick, and they were flying a Star Destroyer still after 10 years.
That's true. I never thought about that. Maybe they switched to electric engines now.
Night Sister magic.
Could be.
Could very well be Night Sister magic. Because why else would the ship have the fucking designs on there? Right. But then you get to see, not only do you get to see Thrawn, you get to see Enoch. Thrawn's number one.
Yeah.
Who is a gilded stormtrooper, death trooper, with the face of Thrawn on there,
right,
as his face.
Yeah,
and he has a real robotic sounding voice.
Yeah,
they all do. If you notice, they all have weird voices when you talk. If you listen to the stormtroopers or death troopers, they all have like a sir, blah blah blah. You know, they all have this real robotic sounding voice.
Right.
Not like any other stormtroopers in any other series.
Well, they might be a different set of clones based on too, so you know, it's hard to say.
True.
Yeah.
But Thrawn wouldn't have been using clones though.
Well, there's no telling where he got his fleet from. I mean, it could be slaves from all the planets he went through and everything, just like the Empire just kind of did for.
Oh wow, yeah. You know, that is a good point.
Yeah,
that is a good point. Like he actually went out and a deal. Yeah, he actually went out, and maybe that's how he still has fuel. He found a rich place or something, you know, like a place where you know, like the Tabana gas mines that Lando swindled somebody out of.
Yeah, I mean,
so this is also.
It might be he might have found like Kyber crystals or something similar that would work, and
definitely
find it with a reserve and stuff. So yeah, it's hard to say
for sure. Yeah. So this is also the episode 2 where Thrawn tells Morgan and Baylan and Shin Hati that, you know, their main priority is getting off the planet. Whether or not Sabine and Ezra live or die is no consequence to him, right, as long as their first priority is getting away from that galaxy.
Yeah,
which already tells you now that he's just gonna fucking do his job and get the fuck out of there.
Yep.
And if it doesn't matter if everybody dies and he doesn't.
Well,
if he can if he lives and can get the fuck out, he's going to.
Like you said, long live the Empire. That's what his main goal is. He's a loyal servant.
So this is also the point too where Baylan pretty much tells Shin Hati that he's done training her.
Right.
And he's searching for a higher, you know, a bigger power, and not what she's looking for.
Right.
And okay, so then that's where pretty much that episode ends. You get you meet Ezra in live action, not on a hologram. It's real short. They go through a little bit of shit, and then Sabine doesn't tell him anything.
Right.
They essentially, you know, she's like, "I'll tell you about it later. Fucking tell me now. It's been 10 years."
How do you think that Thrawn knew Anakin Skywalker?
How do I think he knew him?
Yeah.
They served together.
Oh, was Thrawn in the
Clone
Wars? Oh, okay.
Yes. Thrawn was in the Clone Wars. He knew Anakin and he knew Vader.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Like, not Vader as in pre-Obi-Wan dual Vader.
Right.
Like Order 66 Vader. No, he knew Vader, like Black Suit Vader.
Okay.
Yeah. Because everything that happens, I'll tell you this, where Rebels stops is where Rogue One starts.
Okay.
Far, far away. It was directed by Jennifer Getzinger, which is interesting. She has directed a bunch of TV. She's worked on some films like The Prophecy and Phantoms. Jason, I've kind of taken control of this episode a little bit because you ransacked me again. So episode part, God damn it, I did it again. Part 7.
Yeah, part 7.
Dreams and Madness.
Right.
Greta Vasant Patel, written by Dave Filoni. Debuted on my mom's birthday. My mom turned 70 that day.
That's a good. It was a good one to turn 70 on. It was a good one.
Yeah.
I would say this one was like the most worthless cameo in C-3PO. for really no reason other than just to have C3PO in it. I'm surprised R2 wasn't in it just because,
And yeah, because with him as always is Garth.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was definitely the worst cameo name drop.
It was pointless, dude.
I mean
anybody could have went up there and lied. It didn't have to be 3PO,
Right. And I think it's only because of, okay, so it's a Rebels thing. I mean, you're not there yet, but you'll get there. Yeah, it's a Rebels thing.
Okay.
That's all I got to say. It's a Rebels thing.
If it tied into Rebels, then maybe it's cool. I don't like say I haven't watched all of Rebels yet, so I don't know. But
yeah, it ties into Rebels, but that's where the people don't get it. Okay, but this dude, fucking Zionio, the senator. Yeah. What the fuck is this Imperial sympathizing motherfucker?
He could just be a caricature of any politician nowadays.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you could tell he is a fucking Imperial sympathizer.
Yeah.
I mean, not only do we have from 2 episodes ago, part 4, where we've got the fucking the guy who stars in he's in House. Damn it, what's the actor's name? Fucking, he worked at the Imperial Shipyard. The one who was working still for Morgan Elsbeth under the table type shit.
Yeah, I remember who you're talking about. I don't know. I never watched House.
So not only did we have they used the excuse of, oh well, since we've taken control, I mean, there are many ex-Imperials still in the New Republic. It's like, how the fuck is that a thing?
Right.
I mean, obviously your fucking system's gonna crush if you don't have spots to fill those holes, right?
Yeah.
Your galaxy-wide economic structure, because they do use credits on all the fucking planets that are all Imperial-based credits.
Mm-hmm.
Or Republic credits at that time. It's just a different face on the dollar bill. Fucking Chancellor Valorum or Sheev Palpatine. Could you imagine him on the bill? On the fucking...
I take it.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah. Do you think he was vain and only had pictures of his younger self on the money?
It could go from the dollar bill, he was a younger version of himself to
a young Sidious.
Yeah, and then all the way to the $100 bill where he's just
That would be hilarious. So again, you see him in episode 1, he's on the $1 bill. You see him in episode 6 and he's on the fucking 100.
Yeah.
It's what the fuck happened? It's man, he really looks like shit, doesn't he?
The thing that gets me though, man, I don't know, just switching over to real world here. I don't know about money, if the reason they don't change it up is because counterfeiting purposes, but I've never understood why they just can't put random people on random money. As long as
here in America,
the number in the corner,
fucking dick measuring.
But as long as the number in the corner is what the money's worth, I don't really fucking see what it matters.
Well, no, it's all about fucking dick measuring here. That's the whole fucking thing. It's all about fucking, everything else but what it needs to be about.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're called night troopers. I'm sorry.
No, night troopers. I was wondering, but I didn't scroll down to see yet.
Yeah, they're called night troopers. But anyways, so as I was saying, you didn't get to see this in any of the 6 films before it. Ezra totally fucking blocks with the Force. Yeah, you get to see that later on with fucking Kylo Ren. But what do you think of the little Noti people? The little crab people?
Yeah, so I'll be looking for the toys soon.
You think so?
Yeah, I know so. I mean, they don't put R&D into that stuff without toy companies helping out. So yeah, they'll be there soon enough. But yeah, they were cool. Like I said, I I always like new species of creatures in Star Wars. Something that Andor certainly was fucking lacking. Other than that gripe, bring on all the new species you can give me. Even my faults with episode 8, which is pretty much the movie exists, is a fault. The fucking porgs I thought were pretty cool. Yeah. Do what?
The what?
The porgs. I thought they were cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The porg. Yeah, they're neat. They're like little chicken. They're like little chicken penguin Furbies.
But again, dude, like toy companies have a lot of input on these Star Wars characters because it's what they can make.
Well, yeah, dude. I mean, you seriously look at that. They probably own the right to the Furby.
Mm-hmm.
And how fucking cheap would that be? Just the fucking, they probably have a fucking warehouse stocked full of old fucking new stock fucking Furbies somewhere.
Yeah.
That never sold because they lied about the fucking production. Oh, they can learn how to speak English. No, they can't. No, they can't. But all they had to do was skin those fuckers and put a fucking porg fucking skin over.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
Because they still had the little beak and they still made the same fucking noises.
Yeah.
They reminded me of a Furby.
Have you ever seen the similarity between Grogu and Gizmo?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so yeah, I mean, toy companies definitely have a lot of
Grosmo.
Yeah, toy companies have a lot of influence in the creature design.
Dude, all right, so Ahsoka finds her way to Peridia, all the way through a fucking Imperial minefield where the mines are proximity tripped.
Yep, kind of shades of Empire with the Millennium Falcon going through the minefield to escape the Star Destroyer.
Oh no, that wasn't the minefield there. That was the asteroid belt.
Yeah,
the asteroid belt.
Yeah, I'm just talking about going through the belt period.
Yeah. And that was totally cool, and it did harken, which makes sense because when you think about it, it happened in episode 2, it happened in episode 5, it happened now, so it does rhyme.
Part 7.
Part 7. Yeah, the real episode 7.
Yeah.
The real episode 7.
Yeah. So let me just say a couple gripes about this episode. I thought they kind of started getting a little lazy on some stuff. Some of the special effects were very questionable, if you ask me. The part where she slid down the ramp onto the surface looked really fucking bad. I'm like, dude, you spent all this money, everything's really good, but then you let this shit slide, and it, like, I don't notice stuff like that often, but when it's that bad, it's almost jarring how bad it was.
Actually, I think I can explain this.
It's almost like the green screen wasn't quite right, and they were just like, well,
nope. I think I can explain this.
Okay.
So if you go back and you watch episode 1, I think that's why they did it that way. Because when Qui-Gon jumps up onto the ship in episode 1, when they're leaving Tatooine with Anakin, when he jumps up there, and it looks kind of questionable too.
Right. You think it's maybe like the Force? It's supposed to be the Force?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I think that's what it is. I don't think it's necessarily bad CG. I think it's that it's supposed to look kind of funky.
Right. Because the Force is like the filter.
So yeah, Baylan Skoll beats her ass again, dude. She can't beat Baylan.
Well, Baylan was trained. Don't forget, he started explaining different Jedis to Shin Hati, and apparently he was trained before Luke, so that made him a different kind of Jedi. Which actually Anakin should have been also. I wish I remembered the name of that. I didn't write it down.
Well, he calls Ezra Boken.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, he comes from a clan of Boken Jedi, is what he says.
So one's trained in the temple and one isn't.
Yes, he was temple trained. He was temple trained, but Shin Hati would be considered Boken. Right. Actually, no, she probably wouldn't. That's the other thing. They don't mention them ever being Sith.
No, he's not. They're not Sith. I think they're just gray.
I think she is Sith. I think she is, because the way he says the type of power you want, you need to go with Thrawn.
Right.
Because she wants power.
Unlimited power.
Yeah, she wants that, you know. She wants the Sidious kind of power,
right.
The Sheev Palpatine kind. And that's not what Baylan wants, I don't think. Baylan wants knowledge.
Right.
And Baylan wants I mean, should we just go ahead and talk about it?
Let's go right into 8. Yep.
Yeah, because you know they duel the fucking night troopers. You know, he tells them to withdraw and all that. Episode 8. I mean, what else can we fucking sit there and say? You know, fucking Ezra builds a new lightsaber. Fucking using parts. One other part that was this was an interesting point. Huyang mentions Kanan by name, but in the subtitles he says something along the lines of young Caleb was always a whatever student, or young Caleb always liked to hear my stories or whatever. And I think that's funny because that's a reference back to Rebels as well.
Speaking of that, did you ever wonder why like Obi-Wan changed his name to Ben but kept Kenobi, considering he was named General Kenobi? Like, it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, that's not even...
because there's only 2 people that ever refer to him that way in the entire series. There's only 2.
Yeah.
Huh?
Captain Rex was one of them. General Kenobi.
Yes. Well, yeah. Cody, the clones referred to him as that way.
Yeah.
And Grievous.
Yep.
Is the only other person to call General Kenobi. But everybody else refers to him as Master Kenobi or Obi-Wan.
Gotcha.
But I just think it's cool how he was such a happening dude in the 1920s in fucking Shanghai that they named a club after him.
And in Temple of Doom. Yeah.
Yes, the Club Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So anyway, in episode 8 they indoctrinate Morgan Elsbeth into Night Sisterhood. She is elevated. She has reached her next status for her reward. Did you think that they were kind of doing that as like a possession in a way? So the sword that she is gifted is the sword of the mother that was killed in Clone Wars. Right. The one who helped elevate Asajj Ventress to her Night Sisterhood and stuff like that. And who trained under Dooku, right? Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like a foreshadowment that whoever holds that sword will die in battle.
Right.
So I think the Night Mothers kind of knew that going in, and I think Thrawn just goes, well, she has done her duty. You know, because he knew that he was sending her to die. That was Ahsoka that did that, right?
Killed her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you notice, she did not cut her down with the lightsaber. She cut her down with her own sword.
Right.
Which obviously is a sword, which is cool, because you don't see many actual real swords in Star Wars. Yeah, I think this is only the 3rd time or something that's like an actual fucking sword. So the Star Destroyer, they bring down the Ring of Sion to dock with the Star Destroyer, the Star Destroyer Chimera, the awesome fucking Night Mother and Gold ship.
Yeah. Also, dude, don't forget the a lot of people are just calling them zombies because they're lazy, but the necromancy angle from bringing the night troopers back to life after Ahsoka, Ezra, and Sabine put them down.
Yes.
That wasn't zombie vacation. That was just necromancy.
Yes.
There's a difference,
They're
but
not.
the common folk that really don't pay attention to shit are just like, if it's dead, it comes back to life. It's a zombie. And it really wasn't.
No, it's not a zombie. It is necromancy for sure. Which I thought was cool because they did have a little bit of green glowing eyes. And I think, honestly, when people were talking about that in like episode 6, how all of the troopers were dead and that the rumors were that everybody was dead.
Right.
And everybody was just reanimated by the Night Sisters because of their strong connection with dark magic.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like all this thing. That would have been pretty cool too. But yeah, when the eyes started glowing green and shit, and that I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah. Another thing too, I noticed, like, this is just griping, but like there was another really bad CG part to me is when Ahsoka starts just like standing there and just like swinging a lightsaber. It's almost like they just told her, like, just swing the lightsaber and we'll just put bolts wherever your lightsaber ends up. And it didn't look very cool. It looked very cheap, which I was like,
I agree
like
with
some of the cheapness like that got through, like, really surprised me because I thought the show looked really good. Like, especially the first couple episodes were like almost like movie theater quality stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like when it got to the end, it's like some of this stuff is like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why? Who thought this looked good? You know, like, I'm not even an expert. I thought it was like shit. You know, and it's just like
sometimes I think it's difficult. Sometimes I think it's difficult to watch super high def.
It's almost like if you just went back to like 720, it's almost like you could like forgive a lot more because it wouldn't be so like crisp looking.
You know, it's so funny that you say that.
Yeah.
Because earlier I was watching. I watched the trailer again.
I never watched.
No, I'm talking about the trailer for Necronomicon Country.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I watched the trailer to that again, and it went to the next video on my channel, right? On this channel, actually. And the next video was the figures from Chad.
Yeah.
And I got to his part, and I was like, what kind of fucking 56K fucking webcam is he fucking recording with?
I think that was his phone, dude.
Yeah, I know.
And
it's like, doesn't he have a flip phone?
No, he has an iPhone. I don't know what year it is. I don't know which generation.
I mean, it's got to be like an iPhone 2 or some shit.
Probably a 4.
Gosh.
I don't know what's
I'm going to tag him in this just so he sees me bitching about his fucking shitty video quality. So anyway, as we get up to the point here, Hu Yang fixes the ship. Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka all storm the temple. They cut down the fucking volunteers to die. The ones that they knew they were going to die for Thrawn.
Right.
You know, that they were doing that, and fucking Ezra makes it back to back on the Chimera.
Trooper suit.
Yeah, Death Trooper suit.
Yeah, Night Trooper.
Thrawn Trooper. Yeah. Just Thrawn Trooper now. Fuck it.
Yeah. Can I say something about that also? Like when he got the shuttle and went over to the where the rebels were.
Why didn't he change?
They got exactly like, dude, what? Like, why didn't you just change and just walk off the fucking thing instead of putting your arms up like you're a stormtrooper, as they would be known in the galaxy he went back to? And it's like the whole time I was watching, I was like, dude, this is like the most anticlimactic like surrender, because I know who this is. You know, it's like,
you know why they didn't hug?
Why didn't you just fucking take your suit off and just walk down the ramp? Like, I didn't get that. Like,
right.
Yeah.
And you know why Hera and Ezra didn't hug? Why they cut it off at saying, I'm home, was because they were not filming together.
Oh, really?
Yep. Those two scenes are composite together.
Yeah, it's all they do like a big like CG circle they act inside. It's kind of cool. I was watching like something the making of it. It's pretty cool.
Yes, it's awesome. They basically truck in parts of like if you're on Tatooine, they bring in a bunch of sand and put it in the fucking floor, and then they build the sets in there, and it's a 360-degree fucking filming area.
Yeah, it's cool. Like they have some
and it's in the sky too.
Yeah,
they've got LED boards in the ceilings now.
Yeah,
it's wild, dude. Like they can fucking do so much now, and that all started. The first show that they had shot in that area was The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I remember. I watched like some of the making of, and like when he's like crawling up the sandcrawler, they were just like showing like he's like standing still on a ladder that they put up, and like they just like put the screen behind him and shit. It's like that's fucking cool shit, you know?
Yeah, and it looks good. That's the thing.
Yeah, it looked good.
So obviously Hu Yang gets the ship running. Ezra gets fucking catapulted on the force push. It's a force jump, force push is what it is. And then what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to jump and he's supposed to force pull.
Yeah.
Essentially. And it's basically like a slingshot technique.
Yeah.
But of course, they don't have the time. They had the time, but Sabine chose to stay with her master and got stuck on Peridia. And, well, of course, they make it up basically into space right before the Chimera is taking off at the Ring of Sion.
Yeah.
And Thrawn opens the channel and tells Ahsoka, he's like, you know, I know your master Anakin Skywalker, and how unpredictable he is, or he was. Perhaps this is the place for a Ronin such as you, where a Ronin such as you belongs. Long live the Empire, and is gone. It's like, dude, that fucking moment is just like, holy shit. Yeah. What the fuck is about to happen?
Yeah. Well, we'll find out in the Heir to the Empire movie, which I know is happening because they've already announced it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they actually have. And see, that makes me wonder, you know, Luke said it, or Luke. Hamill said that he's not playing Luke anymore. I mean, if he voiced him, I mean, I wish he would.
Dude, they're just going to do the Heir to the Empire story the best they can with the new characters from the series. That's all they're going to do. Han's not going to be in it. Leia's not going to be in it.
They might make I guarantee there's a cameo or something.
I mean, possibly, yeah. But I mean, they're just going to use characters from the Disney shows because that's basically it's just going to wrap up all the Mandalorian stuff, which is is all based on still is the Mandalorian timeline.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean that's all it's going to be. It's not going to be a true Heir to the Empire. I mean,
no.
if they would have just had someone tell them like Episode 7 is already written. If you would just fucking listen to us, you know, they could have done the Empire trilogy. Would have been 7, 8, 9 just perfect, you know.
Well, that's if Lucas would have listened to us 20 years ago.
Well, I mean, it's not even that. It's just like Lucas sold it, so why not just go off something that's beloved by pretty much all Star Wars fans in the EU and make it canon and true to form. Like while Carrie Fisher's still alive, while Mark Hamill is much younger than he is now, and Harrison Ford. I mean, they could have made it. They could have tied in age somehow when they're older, but still worked. You know, I mean.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, every movie that's based on a book takes liberties with the fucking book because you have.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, it totally could have, but you say that again, and that's what they're doing now. Yeah,
but they won't. I guarantee you, they won't have many characters that were in the book in the movie. It's all going to be. It's all going to be Din Djarin is going to be, probably. I would say. Who's the sheriff? Who's the sheriff on Tatooine? Timothy Oliphant's character. He'll be in it. Boba Fett will be in it. So yeah, it's gotta be.
Cobb Vanth.
Cobb Vanth.
Now, did they fire Ming-Na Wen?
No, I don't think so. They just never did. They just never did season 2 of Book of Boba Fett.
No, something was supposedly said where I think she was not going to be coming back.
Well, that was Cara Dune wasn't coming back.
No, this was Ming-Na Wen. So, anyways, no. Let's get to this really fast because I don't give a fuck about anything else except for the very end of the episode where fucking Sabine and Ahsoka are there, right where they need to be. You see,
fucking go back to the tribe that lives there.
Yeah, you see, fucking Shin Hati go to the fucking the scavenger tribe,
yep.
which have a really weird like red appearance look of like Uruk-hai.
Yeah, they're cool.
They look like Uruk-hai, which makes me wonder if they're not YV. What ends up happening is Baylan Skull, as the end of the show, you see Baylan looking at a strange array of lights coming down to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
You see Sabine and Ahsoka looking at that same array of lights.
Right.
And then you see Anakin as a Force ghost, which is interesting. Why is Anakin there? How can Anakin be there? I mean, because it's a different galaxy, you know? I mean,
well, he's ethereal at this point. He can be anywhere. I mean, how does Obi-Wan show up in fucking Endor and fucking Dagobah? Yeah, I don't know. He just does. So
right. Yeah. But at least they're in the same galaxy, though.
True.
You're talking like billions of light years away.
You think the world between worlds is just like doors you can walk through to like shortcuts of different places?
I'm not saying anything, sir.
Oh, real quick too. Getting back to episode 5, real quick.
I'm not saying anything about that.
We forgot to mention that the real reason that was in theaters is because it was like Clone Wars, the movie. Captain Rex, Anakin, and young Ahsoka. That similar looking to Clone Wars.
Not to mention all the Mandalorians in there.
Yeah. Okay, so now we jump back to episode 8. So what I was gonna say earlier was like my theory. Obviously, Ray Stevenson passed, so he'll definitely be recast because the character is too important not to continue on.
Is he though? Is he important?
He'll be recast.
Yeah. I hope it is Liev Schreiber though.
It could be. I mean, dude. I mean, white guy with a beard. Like, it won't be too hard to find anybody who looks similar, but you gotta get the right guy with like the right cadence and similar.
That's why I think Liev would be good.
Yeah, he would.
Liev does have a good cadence like that.
Yeah.
But the owl is essentially the spirit of the sister.
Mm-hmm.
Which talks about the Mortis gods.
Right.
Now, apparently in rumor, it's that light that they're looking at is supposedly a teleportation to Mortis.
Right.
Which is where they came from. And at the end of the episode, obviously Baylan is out on the outstretched hand of the Father.
Right.
Which is the embodiment of the balance of the Force. Is because the Mortis gods are the ones who introduced the Force.
Okay.
And so the Father is the balance of the light side, which is the daughter, and the dark side, which is the son.
Right.
And in the Clone Wars, the Father asked Anakin to take his place. Which is interesting why Anakin was in the world between worlds is the embodiment of the Father, the balance of the Force.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the movie can have a lot of cool stuff in it. I mean, it'll be Heir to the Empire name only, but as I've expressed before.
Well,
but,
no,
a lot of the themes and stuff will be really cool in it, like to tie up all the loose ends.
Oh yeah, because there's a lot of loose ends to still tie up out of Rebels in a way. Mm-hmm. It was totally cool though. I like the way it ended, and honestly, I'm happy if they don't recast him.
Baylan?
Yes.
Right.
because I know what he's looking. It may, to me, being watching Clone Wars, or not watching Clone Wars, but watching Rebels and then watching this, where a lot of that does get tied up. He's looking for something he cannot be, because that's what Anakin is.
Right.
Because he's out looking, he's on the father, he's not on the son. If you notice, there were 3 statues there, but the daughter or the sister, her head was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you only had the father and the son, who are essentially still alive.
Gotcha.
Because the sister, she sacrificed her living embodiment in the Force to Ahsoka, to save Ahsoka's life.
So real quick before we wrap up, what do you think about the music in this show?
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. It was way better than the previous Star Wars show. I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. But
the previous Star Wars show was Obi-Wan.
Andor.
Was Obi-Wan.
No, Andor was after Obi-Wan.
Was it?
Yeah, because to be honest, I was kind of I think I was like pretty burnt out on Star Wars. Because Andor was just such a disappointment to me. I was like, dude, fuck, this is getting ridiculous. And then, like I said, I watched it and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not so done with it, because this is more like what I think Star Wars should be anyway. So yeah, it was where Andor was like kind of like weird, like synth that really didn't fit, because there's never really been synth before. Well, maybe a little bit in the prequels, some, but yeah, like I said, this one felt like Star Wars again. Like it was like, everything.
Yeah. No, the music was. I
mean,
the music was great.
Everything was like Star Wars with the different species, races, creeds.
Oh yeah,
a bunch of people running around. Because I mean, Ahsoka's not even a human anyway, so that helps.
Yeah. Absolutely, and yeah, I totally dig it, and I like it. So. Yeah. I'm looking forward to what's coming up next, which is actually Skeleton Crew.
I guess we Skeleton Crew, yeah. I haven't heard much about it, though. And then
Skeleton Crew is apparently it's supposed to take place super far reaches of space, maybe near Peridia.
Maybe. Is that, and then they have the Acolyte show, which is like a KOTOR era, I think.
Yeah, well, I think it's 1,000 years before the Republic.
That's KOTOR era.
The Acolyte is an upcoming American television series by Leslie Headland. It's part of the Star Wars franchise set at the end of the High Republic era, before the events of the main Star Wars films. High Republic era.
High Republic's only a century before, so okay, it's not, KOTOR is 1,000, so that's only like a century.
See, that's gonna mess things up. Because, like, you would think Yoda would have to be in it.
He might.
Does there always have to be a prodigy in a cast?
Well, I think so.
It says here, Rebecca Henderson as Vernestra Rowe, a Jedi Knight prodigy.
Right. Who knows?
It's like, really? Like, because Anakin was a prodigy.
Yeah.
Luke is kind of a prodigy.
Right.
Because he took to it pretty quick, even knowing how old he was, without being able to do anything.
Right.
So, yeah. I don't know. But, yeah, I love their casting. It says Amanda Sternberg as former Padawan. Parting thoughts?
Yeah, I liked it. I'm looking forward to the Dave Filoni movie. Hopefully next couple of years sometime. We'll see.
Hopefully next year.
Probably not next year. You would have heard
it's not going to be next year, because there's still another season of The Mandalorian supposedly coming.
I don't even think there's anything writing on it, because like that, I don't think the strike is really over.
No, they finished the writing before the strike.
Okay.
And then the actors went on strike too.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, like I say, it's just, I don't know, like everything got backed up a little bit, so you have to wait for the cycle to churn everything out.
Yep.
Probably 25.
Yeah, which, see, that's also what
I
I had heard too.
Probably 26.
That's also what I had heard too, is that they had actually finished the writing for Ahsoka season 2 also before the strike.
Well, like I said, they said Ahsoka's limited series. That means one and done, and then they never really understand the term that they use. So
that's true.
It's hard to say. Yeah, they do that shit all the fucking time.
Because I really wish Andor was a limited series, but it's supposed to have a second season. It's like, what is his second season? Is it leading to of how how he meets Saul? I guess.
Dude, Saul was in season 1. Yeah, he was in for like one episode. Yeah, it was like pretty early on. Yeah, I don't remember a lot about it either because I fell asleep every episode. But
wait till you.
It's just like there's another reason that show bored me, just like kind of like Solo. It's because I knew everything was gonna fucking happen, dude. It's like stuff that is gonna happen. Like Rogue One was okay. Rogue One, you knew that it was before episode 4. You didn't know everyone was gonna die at the end. You had no idea, but you kind of knew what the end was. They changed it up enough to where it was like still like interesting. Like going back to like Andor, it's like, dude, I already know the dude dies on a beach. He can't do anything that's going to change that. So there's nothing really interesting to find out in this movie. It's kind of like people who think Titanic's a good movie and surprised that the boat sank at the end. It's kind of like, yeah,
right.
I've never watched it because I was like, dude, I already know the end of it.
It's edutainment though. That's different.
Is it though? I mean, is it entertainment? Because I've never watched it, but it just sounded boring to me. Yeah,
it's edutainment.
I like James Cameron, but I'll never watch that movie because I really just don't care.
See, it's the same thing of what fucking Pearl Harbor is. It's edutainment. It takes a real happen.
I forgot they made that movie. I forgot they made that movie actually, Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, with
was it Ben Affleck in it?
Ben Affleck, and who else was in it? Ethan Hawke.
I don't think I watched that either.
Was it Ethan Hawke?
I'm not sure. It's a cool story. I think the fact that something that niche got made into a major movie was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I think that's what.
If Disney Plus was around when that was made, it would have gone to Disney Plus.
No,
because it would have.
No, I don't think it would have. And let me explain. It wouldn't have because of the theater aspect. Because the whole straight to streaming thing only really happened because of the pandemic.
Oh man,
on movies, major movies by major companies.
Yeah.
Like your Foxes, your Paramounts, and Universals and Disney's, they all still put out to theater until the pandemic happened. And then they couldn't. And then the first fucking real movie that like got put out then was like Shang-Chi or some shit.
Yeah, I
was like the first Disney film that got put on, or the first Marvel film that got put on.
I've only watched one Marvel movie since Endgame, and that was Doctor Strange. I haven't watched any other ones. Yeah, I haven't watched any.
Shang-Chi is actually really good too.
Yeah, but I haven't watched any of the other ones.
All right, dude, Jason, I think that's it. I think we're excited for Heir to the Empire.
Yep. Yeah, hopefully.
Even if it is only in name, and even if Thrawn is only watered down.
I mean, like, he was kind of fat, but I didn't think he was bad.
Like, I swear,
he had that sinister quality to him. Like, he wasn't like, his face wasn't like sunken in like the pictures from like the book and stuff. He was like, he was eating well, but I thought his performance was good. I thought his demeanor was perfect. So
I do too, and I do like how he is different than his Rebels counterpart a little bit.
Right, like
he's a little bit more myth.
I don't even know.
Well, he's a little bit more myth now, and all of that. So,
right.
But no, dude, I like it, and I'm looking forward to it. So, fuck yeah, man. Again, stick around for any extra stuff that you might see coming up on flamekeeper.vip. Metal every day. Fucking steelstonefest.com. Big goddamn metal show. Yeah. This will be after that, because this will be the Tuesday after, so you should have fucking went. Fuck it. It was a big goddamn metal show. Till we reconvene next month, we'll have a special fucking Thanksgiving edition of the Mudhorn.
Yeah, don't forget to check out our new shows also.
Assault and Battery.
Yeah.
Jinx. This is why I did this. So I can get the point in with all the skulls.
Right.
Trifecta.
I'll let you do the rest.
Trifecta. No, Assault and Battery and Metal on a Budget. Fuck yeah, I love it. Yeah. It's awesome stuff. If you have products you want reviewed, hit up Justin. If you want, Aaron is doing some curated interviews with certain bands. So we're not going to double anybody up.
Aaron's got kind of the Northeast scene locked down on his. He's from Connecticut, so he knows a lot of the stuff from the Northeast.
He does.
Kind of like regional almost.
But his first episode has Jake from Burn Ritual, who lives in Texas. So
yes, well, you
got to start somewhere.
They're not all going to be from Northeast people, but however, that's where he's out of. And there's I know of one of his next few guests. I'm not even going to tell you. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Must be you.
I'm not going to
tell you. Dude, thank you, Jason. Yeah, man.
If you made it to the end of this episode, dude, you deserve a round of applause. This is a long fucking episode.
It is. It's a very long episode for 5.
The first half was long.
Yeah, I know. The first half was long, and this is long, and I love it. It'll probably go up unedited for the most part.
Why not?
Why not, right?
All right, guys. Well, I mean, Flamekeeper.vip for everything Flamekeeper, which is much more now. So enjoy, and we will see you next month.
See ya.
Mama always said there was something out there. I still remember the nights when Daddy would sit on the porch with a shotgun. Those were different times. I never understood what all the fuss was about. And there was a time those girls went missing. After that, everything changed. Some people said it was the devil. Others said it was the town badass. If you were lucky, you got out. But if you're not, well, that's a whole other story altogether.
Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana is the premier 12,500 square foot music superstore that has served both the southern Indiana and Louisville, Kentucky metro area for over 4 decades. Originally founded by Marvin and Beverly Maxwell in the 70s, this gym remains a Maxwell family-owned business. Mark Maxwell, along with his business partner, Whitney McNichol, continue the reputation as being a national resource for all things music. In 2022, the iconic Guitar Emporium of Louisville relocated to Maxwell's Music, creating the largest independently owned showroom in the region. The retail offerings at Maxwell's Music includes a huge selection of guitars, basses, amplifiers, effects pedals, modeling amps, keyboards, drums, banjos, mandolins, ukuleles, sound systems, stage lighting equipment, and accessories. The music education program at Maxwell's is second to none. From private instrument and voice lessons to DG, EDM, recording, songwriting, and music theory, to rock school, weekend warriors, and Maxwell's Music Lab, there is something for every age and every ability level. In Repairland, guitar and instrument repairs and refurbishment are taken care of by the Maxwell's team of expert guitar technicians and luthiers. They also do instrument appraisals. Maxwell's offers installations for professional audio-visual and lighting systems for schools, churches, clubs, VFWs, funeral homes, sports fields, and so much more. There's also rentable space at Maxwell's, from music practice or rehearsal rooms for individuals or bands, all the way to a meeting space and concert venue that seats up to 120. That also includes a professional audio-visual and lighting system and a sound booth. Maxwell's has it all. All this plus an original, functioning 1947 recording booth to make your own record, to the Guitar Hero throne, to their very own Elvis statue, and don't forget the Harmony Green Pocket Park. There's a reason Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana has been recognized by the National Association of Music Merchants as the #1 award-winning Best Store Design, as well as Top 100 Music Store year after year. You gotta see it to believe it. Maxwell's House of Music in Jeffersonville, Indiana.